all about, they know what goes on, and then they play it from a position of strength. Like, you know, you're pathetic. You're a weak man. I know what. Sometimes, yes, can we?
Did anybody have any questions?
How about you, little miss?
Miss?
Miss, I'm sorry, man. You look like Sinead O'Connor. I'm sorry, I'm being silly.
Oh, will the Niblonians need help from Pi again?
What's that?
Niblonians.
Niblonians? Will they...
Need help from Pi.
Will they do that from Friday? Did we do any more Niblonian? I don't think we did any more Niblonian episodes coming up.
Not ones that are coming up. I'm trying to remember some of the ones that are coming up. I hope I can remember a few before we get out of here.
See, the problem is, we started the season before last year's season. We do them all at once, and Comedy Central separates them into 2 seasons. Like, we did all 26 episodes together that started airing last summer. But Comedy Central said, we're just going to air 13. So the 13 that are airing this summer are literally a year and a half old.
Yeah,
so it's like, do you remember back in the 90s? There was an episode. You know, it's like, oh my God, I don't. And we haven't seen them in that time. It's different when they've like aired and they're old, because it's sort of like in the ether. It's like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that one. But like the ones that you recorded a year and a half ago and it had been sitting in a vault are just like they recede in memory so much.
And then when you do interviews, somebody does it. So what do we have to look forward to? And I'm like, shit. Here's my notes.
They will have episodes of Futurama.
There's a lot of love lost. There's the eternal triangle. Where
it's like Conrad's Hearts of Darkness with an overbody.
You know, wait to see what Bender steals this year. And you're pretty much safe.
Exactly, generic promotion.
You know, some of the kids just hold you to it. It's like, how can you not know? You know, I really don't. How is that possible? Who did it? You know,
we can't rewind it while we're recording it.
I think the same kid used to follow me from city to city in the audience, and he would be like, you know, he'd be like, I have a question! I said, yes? And he, if Polly Toastman got into a fight with the Joker, who would win? And I said, do you draw? Yeah. Do you write and stuff? Yeah. I go, well, why don't you draw and write, and then you determine the outcome? And he was like, but I want you to tell me. And I was like, oh my God, he planned this, you know. He had an exact scenario how it was going to go in his mind, and if it didn't, he would short circuit and explode, and there'd be wires and tubes, gel. And so one time, either him or some guy like him pestered the death out of Dan Castellaneta. We're doing a little seminar, not a seminar, Q&A at the Egyptian Theater. Leonard Maltin was moderating. Matt was there, Dan Castellaneta. And, you know, they were asking us questions and stuff, and then it was over, finally, and we leave. We're heading out the door, and there's a huge crowd of people, just like if you guys were just to up and head out the door. We were, like, in that crowd. Dan's, like, here, and the kid is back here screaming at me about a German episode of The Simpsons. It was number 208, and it was German, and there was a voice, and it wasn't you, but they said it was you. They put your name on it. And he goes, you know, he's going, I just gotta get out of here. Why did you do that? Why were you dishonest? And he goes, I don't know. Because obviously someone screwed it up. How on earth would he know? German, he's the, oh, talk about peripheral interest. Periphery.
Yes.
I have a question. First of all, I have to say
Wait, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Is that why you raised your hand? I'm such a schmuck.
I'm a big fan of both of you. But I just want to know, and I know that most voice actors take their acts from either real life situations or people they looked up to. But as kids, did you guys ever sit in like a room and just fool around for a while doing voices?
A buddy of mine got a new tape recorder. It was like you had to press down 2 buttons and record and play at the same time.
Reel to reel?
No, it was cassette. And spent hours. It's like, is it playing? Is it on? I don't know. Is the light on? I don't know. Wait, let's play it back and see if we heard it. Is it playing? Is it playing?
I had a reel to reel. When I got that, I was about 10, and I discovered the same power. Suddenly you had to tape other people when they didn't know. Listen back to it at night, and I would learn, you know, I was so interested in the way people talk. I was always my ear to the radio because I was a sonic, my world was a sonic one pretty much, you know, I just love sound and people talking. But I got this tape recorder, and we started, like, you know, you get with your friends, you start talking, how about that new teacher? And I'd be like, I'd like to take her by the nose and swing her around the room. You know, just doing stupid little voices. That's what I would do. It's the same. No, it's quite a discovery that you love all these other voices you do, but you hate your own.
Well, but you know, I think
is that thing right? You know, I had the most plain vanilla, like, little rotten voice.
Well, I was talking to somebody at the table about this, the fact that your voice, when you're talking, you hear it from inside your head. So that's why it always sounds different when you hear it recorded, because we're basically hearing our own voices in the lovely sonic resonating chamber that is our head. We all sound deeper, less nasal, everything sounds great.
More selfish.
Exactly. You know, from here, as opposed to from in here, it's like, we all sound so great. Like, wait a minute. That's that great voice I hear in my head. Like,
no, that's behind some real characters.
Well, I loved, you know, when I was a kid, we would take like these little comedy magazines, you know, like Mad or whatever, and read the parodies. We'd like act out the parodies. And I would be the announcer because I had the deep voice. You know, and listen back to it, it's like, and now a word from our sponsor. Which at the time I thought sounded like, somewhere. I'm sure they've turned to dust by now in a shoebox in there.
There's some reel that I did, and I'm so ashamed. I'm scared to listen.
It's okay
to
for that.
I'm so scared to listen to it because I did it when I was in radio. I was also high out of my mind. And I just rolled the tape. I just rolled the tape in the studio, and the things I said. Oh.
And you kept the tape?
I kept it, but I've been scared to listen to it. I just was hoping no one else would ever find it.
But you leave it. See, oh my
You
God.
think you're so profound when
You're like a 14-year-old today. It's like, I'm going to take pictures of myself naked, but I hope no one ever sees them. Delete it! Don't take it! Oh my God, if this tape were ever to get into the wrong hands. Someone comes and grabs it there. Get rid of it!
Naked pictures. What do you have, a drone following me or something?
Wait.
First of all, I have to say that I think it's hilarious that you used to take part in that magazine and do voices and do Mad TV. But
Ironic.
But my question was, going back to something you said earlier, I love Taste Scholar, it's perfect. But I'm curious, full soldier, that would be fun. Did they ever do any recordings that I think maybe find them?
No, we did the table read. I don't think we ever recorded it. And also, the thing was, they did actually do a rewrite of sorts. Like, the character of Leela was initially lighter, and Amy was more butch. Remember that?
Interesting.
Yeah. I remember early drawings of Amy with, like, the boots.
I like powerful women. That's okay with me.
And so, I think when they took those 2 weeks to recast, they also did like a little bit of tweaking script-wise. This, you know, you had to change something, so then it was like, look, we took your notes. So, yeah, no, there does not exist any, I don't think. I mean, there's probably an audition somewhere.
But what a spark plug Nicole Sullivan is. I am a big admirer of hers.
She's one of those people who can make anything funny. You know? I know this person.
Have you ever thought about growing your voice and like changing your voice and growing it to trick people?
Yes, I have thought of it, and I'm gonna... you mean like ventriloquism?
That's a whole other skill set.
Yes, because you gotta do some kind of a voice pretending, or you're pretending, but your lips are not supposed to move. And I always move mine, so I learned to talk as if though I was in a jar, like a glass jar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the voice, you know, it's like, or a little man in the box. Screw you! You're an asshole. Screw you! You know, the little insult box. Yeah, let's say this down.
Is that basically ventriloquism? Could you, if you had a puppet, could you?
I'm not very good at it. I did have puppets though, I mean, who didn't? Thanks a lot. No, I had them, but I would just tear the guts out of anything, like a stuffed bear, anything, just so I could get my hand up it. These hands.
I think let's move on to the next question.
With these hands.
I had a quick question.
It's not quick yet?
I know. I love you, you know, since the UPS man, the first time I actually saw you on TV, you know, hopping around and everything, just awesome.
See, that's why I think the black guys don't talk about me. Okay, brother, go ahead, take your time. Tell me more about my life.
What am I not smart I'm wetter than wet, I'm clear. I can see my anatomy.
One, can I get a picture with you? And two, what do you have to do to maintain your voice, you know, throughout that whole process that you all are working so hard? I know you have to talk so much. Is there something, you know, as far as like for your voice acting, is there anything specific you have to work on to keep your voice, or is it just sort of natural when you?
Answer to your question. Yeah, come on down to the table. After this panel, be back downstairs in the signing area. You take the second. Voice stuff.
What, to prepare?
To prepare, and then also.
I mean, you have to be conscious of your voice.
Yes.
Just because, you know, you'll be a week where you have 2-3 jobs, and you know, if you go out till 2 in the morning and then have to do a high-pitched voice in the morning, you're not going to be able to do it. Do you do video games at all?
I do, and you have to do a zillion responses in case of whatever goes down in the game. You have to record multiple responses depending on what happened, and then that'll kick in.
Yeah. I mean, those of us who came up in animation, we consider video games to be like throat rippers. And
hard work.
It's really hard work because we're used to spending 4 hours, 8 of us in a room, collectively doing 22, 23 minutes of material. When you work on a video game, you're booked for the same 4 hours, but it's you alone trying to do your portion of 5 hours of material.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if anybody here has ever had to talk for 4 hours straight, but it's a strain.
In the courthouse?
No, I didn't even know they were shooting. No. It's a strain just to talk in a normal tone of voice, and then you add death screams because pretty much most video games, your character is at some point going to die in several horrible ways. All right, can we get about 10 being burned? Just give us some short electrocution, some medium electrocution, and long electrocution.
Phil is not kidding. It's a gauntlet, It's like 1 minute you have to praise whoever the player is, and the next you gotta say, "Hey, stupid! What'd you do? Fall asleep?" It's so schizophrenic.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Like, there's no script. Well, sometimes there's a script, but it's about this long. You can't actually read it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not the sense of story that you get with a regular TV animation. Yes.
I was just wondering if doing sock puppet theater has made you see the way you read the internet differently?
Who dat?
Neither one of us is in sock puppet theater.
Oh, you should have.
Have you seen sock puppet theater?
Yeah.
Did you notice that we went? I can forward the question to Rob Paulson.
Well, I think I might have been in there somewhere.
You're in one episode.
Yeah, am I
You're
absolutely in there?
That's April's thing, right?
Yes, it is. April Winchell is a mad genius. I love her.
And it's sockpuppettheater.com, right?
Yeah.
I think I did a couple of voices. What